Hello everyone, welcome back to lesson number 2 of this coaching series of how to downwind foil. So today we're going to be talking all about pumping technique. Last time we went through the equipment to use and the paddling technique, and today we're going to be learning how to pump, which is probably the most important thing for downwind foiling. And then we're also going to go into a bit of combining your pump with your paddle. When's the timing of it? When should I accelerate? And then we'll finish off the session by doing a flat water paddle up, where I'll talk through how to time everything, what separate stages should you split it up to do a flat water paddle up, and then maybe we'll quickly mention how it's different when you get out in the bumps. So first things first, pumping technique. So last time we talked about having our feet just slightly wider than shoulder width, and now we're going to get that pumping motion going. So everyone thinks about it slightly differently, and probably the easiest way to describe it is like ollieing a skateboard. So you're basically getting down, you're kicking it up, and you're jumping forward back onto that front foot. So imagine that's like that motion there. Some other ways to think about the technique. So starting by, I'm bending my legs both centrally to get into the center, and then I'm going to activate my front quad first and then my back quad second. So imagine I'm in this position here, I go down, front quad first, so I'm leaning back this way, back quad, I'm going up, and then I'm going to cycle back forward and land back on my front foot. So we're going boom, jumping forward like this. So that's probably the most important thing. When you get to the end of that pump, you're going to cycle from being like slightly towards the back, you're jumping up and forward, and in that moment you're getting your board to lift up, flatten, and then come back down in the water. And then this is the moment when we start our paddle stroke. So it's all well and good to say all these things, but the real thing that's going to benefit you with pumping is getting some practice in out on the water. So I'm not going to talk too much more about the technique. There's probably plenty of people who've said how they think about it in their heads. I find that everyone thinks about it slightly differently, and it's just about finding some way of talking about it that works for you. So yeah, let's head out to the water. We've just hit the water talking about the technique on land. Let's get into our first drills. So first drill we're going to do is using just our pump. So we're not going to paddle at all, and we're going to focus on getting our board doing a nice porpoising action. So to do this, I'm going to give myself some slight forwards momentum, then hold my paddle and just pump. Things to think about: we want our board to be flat in the water. So I don't want to be nose up like this, and I don't want to be tail up like this. So when I'm just standing in my board, it's nice and flat. Then I'm going to have my back foot just outside my shoulder width, back foot square on, front foot on a 45-degree angle. So start by giving myself a little bit of forward momentum, then I'll start the board porpoising. So you can see I'm starting to generate a bit of speed just purely from pumping. You've probably seen those good videos of guys getting up onto foil purely from doing that. I'm not quite at that stage yet, but hopefully we can do that one day. Might need a slightly bigger board as well. All right, so things to focus on there is coming down kind of centrally, then we're popping the front foot up, then we're extending our front leg, then our back leg, and jumping forward into our downstroke. With your board, you don't want it to be just going up and then slapping back like this. You want it to go up, pop forward, and then come down flat. So you imagine the action you're doing is like this. It's like a little ollie, kicking yourself up and forward and then landing with the board flat, or even with the board slightly nose down, so that you drive yourself forward. Let's just do one more practice into the wind, see if I can get going that way. Yeah, so this momentum really comes from the foil, and you should feel the foil activating. All right, let's move on to the second drill. So this is basically combining this porpoise with a slight paddle. What I want you to do is just hold the paddle nice and far out in front of you, and we're just going to do really little strokes. So like this, just all the way out in front. And what I want you to focus on is making sure the blade fully enters and exits each time, but we're not going to pull any further than our front foot. So we'll start by just doing these little paddles, and then we're going to introduce those porpoise motion, and the goal of this one is to get the timing of the pump and paddle correct. So let's do it. Here we go. So starting that little paddle, this. Then I'm starting my pump. So coming down as the paddle enters the water and popping up as it exits. Remember to jump forward. Whoa. You should really start to feel that board get a nice porpoise action to it. Okay, well done. That's drill number 3. Oh, sorry, drill number 2. Let's move on to drill number 3. This is third one, is about getting a really powerful one stroke. So we're going to go into the wind for this one. So this time, instead of doing little paddles out in front, I'm going to do one full paddle all the way through to my feet. I'm just going to do a single jump and stop. So what I really want you to focus on is making this pump nice and powerful and really popping yourself up and forwards. So remember, shoulder width, a bit wider than the shoulder width, sorry. Back foot square on, front foot on 45. Here we go. So 1, pop. So that was a better example. See how I got my board nice and up and it slapped onto the water? That's what we're aiming for with this one. All right, that's drill number 3. Okay, we'll finish off the session with a paddle up attempt. So feel free to do as many of these as you like. Try to implement all the things you've learnt. So we're going to split the paddle up into 3 phases. Phase number 1 is just getting some speed with our paddle, going in a straight line. Step number 2 is introducing that pumping motion. And then step number 3 is going nuts and giving it everything to get up on foil. All right, so here we go. Step number 1, slight paddle. Step number 2, introduce the pumping. Once I feel like I've got all this timing really nice, then we go for it. And we're away. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you in the next one. Message me if you're in Perth and want some coaching. And if you want online coaching, join the Coach Casey Club and see me there. Thanks for filming, Callum. Thanks for filming, Sam. We're done. Let's go.